This is not doing PR for you. We are reporting what's happening in your domain. Wish you well. Okay, to our next story. Discipline, I can tell you, is the soul of the army. Go against it and you pay a big price for it. One officer and 16 soldiers of 3 divisions of the Nigerian Army in Jos Plateau State have been arraigned before a general court-martial over offenses bordering on murder, arms dealing, and other serious offenses. Now, the general officer commanding, that's the GOC of the division, and commander of Operation Safe Haven, Major General A.E. Abubakar, who inaugurated the court-martial, stressed the significance of the court in enforcing discipline, professionalism, and regimentation in the execution of military duties. Most people want to avoid pain, and discipline is usually painful. Now, TVC's Funan Joshua is on this story. Let's join him for it.
These are 16 soldiers and 1 officer accused of various offenses against the military law at the 3rd Division of the Nigerian Army in Rukuba, Jos Plateau State. They have been court-martialed. The military justice system is strict and discipline is the watchword. These soldiers have been accused of perpetrating crimes ranging from armed robbery, murder, and unlawful possession and sale of arms and ammunition, contrary to their operational mandate within the 3rd Armored Division. It is the official inauguration of the court-martial proceeding as authorized by the General Officer commanding the 3rd Division, Major General Abdulsalam Abubakar.
We have some lines of offenses that range from murder, armed robbery, unlawful possession of arms and ammunition, selling of arms and ammunition, and some other offenses also that troops are bound to commit in the course of operation, either during peace or wartime. And all these offenses are now brought before this honorable court. So what you have witnessed today is the inauguration of 3 Division General Court Martial, and the essence of it is to ensure that the erring personnel that are suspected of committing various offenses are brought before the court to follow the necessary disciplinary procedure, which are actually premised on the respect to rule of law, and also ensuring that there's compliance with the principles of natural justice and the extant rules and procedure.
In a similar situation, the commander of Operation Safe Haven, Major General Abdulsalam Abubakar, has rewarded 8 personnel of the Special Task Force for rejecting a 1.5 million naira bribe from suspected cattle rustlers in Plateau State. The commander commended the personnel for such boldness and urged other distinguished personnel to continually exemplify good conduct and bravery in the discharge of their responsibilities.
The 3 Division General Court Martial has just been inaugurated here in Jos, the Plateau State capital. It is expected that the accused persons will be given a fair hearing. From Joshua, TVC News, Rukuba Cantonment.
Well, Paul, whenever we talk copiously about punishing bad behavior, that's what we mean.
Yeah. But this is not the first time that the army will be court-martialing on disciplined soldiers. But there's something I really want to say here, because these offenses do not only contravene military laws, they also contravene civil laws. Now, if the army finds them guilty, of course they will be dismissed. But what I expect is that they be handed over to civil authorities.
Yeah, because dismissing them is not enough.
It's not enough. I think I read a paper delivered by a serving judge who actually harped on this, that it is not enough to just say you court-martial and then you dismiss. You know,
the fellow must pay for the...
exactly. It's murder, for example, is a capital offense. So, I mean, if the army finds any of them or some of them guilty of murder, for example, we need to also hear that they have been handed over to civil authorities. We need to see them also tried in civil courts, because at that time they are no longer soldiers. They are now civilians. Arms dealing is bad for the military, it's also bad for the society.
Especially at a time like this.
So all of those offenses, we want to see them go beyond all of this, and then hand them over to civil authorities. But it's a good thing that the army is doing its best to purge itself of bad eggs. Bad eggs. Yeah, it's a good thing.
What more can we add, Jide?
It's a good development that the soldiers, the army is not covering up its officers and men who are guilty of one infraction or another. I can report that after the army court-martials them and they are dismissed, they are usually handed over to
civil authorities,
police,
okay,
who then prosecute them. Those two irresponsible soldiers that killed an Islamic cleric in Yobe State, after asking for a ride, and he gave them a ride, they've been sentenced to death. And the sentencing was done by civil, through civil procedure, not the
military.
The military will, and that's why when you are joining the army, they make sure that you are abreast of both the martial law as well as civil law,
as well as the do's and don'ts.
So you have to be conversant of both the martial law as well as the constitution of the country, so that you do not do anything that would put you in trouble. So these officers know that it will not, these soldiers and one officer know that it will not end there. Once they are court-martialed, they are handed over to the police will take it from there. We've seen soldiers jailed again and again because of this. But the point that needs to be stressed is that we have a bunch of wayward soldiers and officers in the armed forces, and there's a need to continually
tame them,
cleanse the system of this kind of soldiers guilty of abhorrent behavior. On October 25, 2023, the Army court-martialed 25 soldiers and one officer in Enugu. On the 15th of May, 2023, the Army court-martialed a Major General over alleged diversion of funds. On September 23, the Army court-martialed 14 officers and 9 soldiers.
It's a continuing thing.
I remember the former Chief of Defense Staff complaining that the rate at which soldiers were conniving with bandits was a big bother for him. If you check, if you Google that story, you see how the former Chief of Defense Staff was lamenting that it had become a real matter for concern. The rate at which they were working with terrorists, working with bandits, and soldiers who behave like this, soldiers and officers who behave like this, put the responsible and disciplined officers to shame. Some of them, because of money, are prepared to give information about the movement of troops to bandits, so that bandits can then organize an ambush.
That's it.
Or to terrorists. So these things are happening. And look at these ones. They've been accused of murder, armed robbery, unlawful possession of arms, and even selling of weapons.
To the enemy.
To the enemy, to the bandits, to the terrorists. So we cannot tolerate this kind of behavior from people who are paid, people who swore to defend the citizenry. You are the ones now selling weapons. Sometimes they sell their bullets, to these people. So I have to, at this point, I will admonish the army to continually look inwards and fish out this kind of officer. Of course, no matter how determined the Chief of Army Staff is to execute his mandate, if you have so many black legs, like the ones who have been put on trial, or like the ones who have been convicted in the past, you are not going to go far. Look at the soldier in Ondo State who stopped a bus and he saw a beautiful girl, a student of the university in Akumba Akuku, and they dragged her into the bush and raped her. Yes, that happened a couple of years ago. So we have all kinds of people. The ones who asked for a ride from a cleric who was coming from Kano. And the cleric, these are servicemen serving my country. Let me give them a ride. He gave them a ride. He gave, I think, one of them a ride. Then he stopped not far from their, from their base.
Yeah.
But that was where he said he was going. And then it told him that he was hearing a sound. Said he was hearing one sound, yes, from the rear tire. So
unsuspectingly,
the man stopped.
The man stopped.
As he was trying to check
what was wrong,
he opened fire on him, pumped bullets into his body, and then got an accessory. He got another soldier to assist him. They dragged the man's remains into the bush.
Took the car away?
No, they couldn't. Unfortunately for them, or fortunately, their efforts to move with the car failed. So they couldn't. The intention ab initio was to steal the car. So you can imagine, we don't need such people in the army.
Okay.
We need people of pristine character in the army, people of integrity. So these are the people that we need, and we need, whether the police too do that a lot.
Yeah, they do.
Every profession, whether it's a legal profession, any profession at all, whether it's builders, you need to fish out the bad eggs. Who, for example, would hire quacks and then the building will collapse.
Yeah.
You know, this is what we need. As the army is purging itself of undesirable elements, and the police are doing it, other professions...
The larger society.
Yes, other professions.
Yeah.
Because the police can beat their chest that, look, you can say that there are so many people who are corrupt in the police, but we are constantly weeding them out. If you lodge a complaint now of extortion, they will fish out those officers and send them packing. That's what we want to see. We don't need undesirable elements in our armed forces.
All right, then. Nothing to add.
Yeah, I just feel that so many soldiers who are doing this are also disrespecting their uniform. That's the truth.
Okay, all right. Okay, we'll go on a commercial break now. So come with us and please stay. We'll be back shortly.